Well, in November 2022, Road and Track magazine published an article titled "The Prius is an Enthusiast Car." No more specifically, they were talking about the new higher horsepower fifth generation Prius. It's faster and bigger engine and everything. But when I first read the article, I kind of laughed. I'm like, welcome to the party, pal. Where y'all been? Ever since doing the Cannonball Run in the Prius, I've had Prius enthusiasts reaching out to me, inviting me to different events and car shows and things. And I had the opportunity to meet some people that are doing phenomenal things with a Prius. Just everything from radical lifts and off-road tires and limited slip differentials. They're participating in rallycross events. And what's crazy is they only have a couple $1,000s in these cars. And grassroots motorsports, basic at its finest. They're going out with not a whole lot of money and they're having the time of their life. And I got to really thinking about it. Prius is one of the most hated cars in the last 20 years, the most mocked, most ridiculed. But then you have other people that, like these enthusiasts, that are taking them and having a blast with them and ignoring the haters, ignoring the trolls. I was thinking about the history of it. Prior to the 1970s, the V8 was king in the grassroots motorsports world. Well, then in the early 70s, you had the EPA mandates of pollution control, the mandatory 55 mile an hour speed limits. Those come in, and suddenly four-cylinder cars that Honda and Toyota was selling cars in the United States then, but they were considered toy cars. They were kind of a novelty item. Most of your four-cylinder cars, you had your Volkswagen Bugs, your Fiats, things, Triumph, things like that, but no one really took them serious. Well, progressed on, those four-cylinder cars became popular because people could afford them. A few $1,000s, brand new, they got great gas mileage. Sure, they only had 50 horsepower. With a 55 mile an hour speed limit, they didn't have to go keep up with running 80, 90 miles an hour with the V8s anymore. They became a responsible, affordable alternative for a lot of people. Well, what happened in the 80s and 90s, those four-cylinder cars were wore out, commuter cars. Now you started seeing people modify them. Like in the 70s, when all that happened, the big three, Chevrolet, Ford, GM, they kind of caught with their pants down on the V8s, getting outsold with the new four-cylinders. Out they come with the Pintos, the Monzas, the Vegas. In the 80s and 90s, where did you see those wore-out cars? They were on the dirt tracks. They were getting V8 engine swaps. They were showing up at racetracks, autocross events, because you could get them for cheap. Well, now the same thing is happening with the Prius. Wore-out Priuses that you could pick up at a dead battery. You could replace the battery for a few $100, buy the car for a few $100, and you didn't care what you did to it. So they're butchering them up, cutting them up, lift kits on them. The Gambler 500 people bought some of them and started taking them out in the woods, off-roading them as a joke. And they found out they were actually pretty decent cars in those environments if you set it up the right way. I met a guy at Prius at the Tail of the Dragon event. He had lowered the car, bought it from his grandmother. He lowered it, modified suspension, coilovers, big fender extensions on it, wide tires, and he's taking it to autocross events. And he's out there in a car, he has about $3,000 total invested in it. And he's competing in autocross events, and he is beating cars that have 3-4 times the amount of horsepower, $40,000, $50,000 cars. And out for not a whole lot of money, he's having fun. And really, isn't that what an enthusiast vehicle is? I have signed parts of multiple Priuses. People meet me and they're fans and my Cannonball history, and they've actually asked me to sign their Prius, which I thought was hilarious. I was honored to be thought of that way, but it's introduced me to this whole group of people I didn't know existed that are doing these crazy, wild things with Priuses. I met a lady and she bought a used one, tore the engine transmission out in it, put a Honda K-swap with a 6-speed in it, going out and have fun. Met another guy's finishing up an LS swap. Same thing, bought a old piece of junk Prius and put an LS engine in it, rear-wheel drive, and he's taking it to drag races. He's taking it to car shows. Just having fun for, I think he said he has like $800 in this car. And that's the kind of stuff I find interesting, that grassroots motorsports at its finest, just taking what you can afford to do and going out and having fun in these cars. Now, every major manufacturer makes a hybrid vehicle of some kind. I mean, by hybrid Jeep, a hybrid McLaren, a hybrid Ferrari. Look at Corvette's coming out with the E-Ray, a hybrid Corvette. You know, Toyota first showed the concept of a Prius at the International Car Show in Japan in '95. They released it to the public in '97, brought it to the United States in '99, and it won all kinds of awards for its technology. No one had ever thought of something like this in the modern era. There were some cars in the 20s and 30s that had some hybrid designs to it, but Toyota perfected it. The first generation Prius wasn't really that great a car. You know, they took an existing Toyota Echo platform, put this technology in it, put it out there, won all the awards, but they didn't give up on it. They come out with the second generation Prius in 2004, was much improved, and that's when it took off. Another thing that had an impact, a big impact on the Prius, was the Cash for Clunkers program. And it was a unique way. It was, they benefited greatly from it. In Cash for Clunkers, you had the number one type of vehicle that was traded in was pickup trucks. Over 80% of them. People had these 15-year-old trucks that may have been worth $1,000. Suddenly, through this government program, it was worth $4,500. The number one car that people traded on in for were four-door sedans. And the number one car manufacturer that benefited from it was Toyota. Toyota was sold the most, GM sold the second, and Honda was third that benefited for Cash for Clunkers. So that was 2007, 2008. And what happened, some people got a Prius because they could afford it, it was in their budget, and next thing you know, that's when they exploded. You know, everybody had a coworker, a neighbor, a family member that got one, and they became curious. Well, I heard these were horrible cars. Tell me about it. And they kept coming in bragging, yeah, I get 50 miles to the gallon, 10,000 mile oil change. They started seeing them with 150,000 miles, and owners still had the original brake pads on them. Well, then 2009 to 2012, Toyota sold over 1.25 million Priuses in those 4 years. And now those cars that people used as commuter cars to get to work, drove their kids to school in because they could afford them, they were inexpensive, gas prices were high then, those cars become wore out, or typical, 150, 200,000 miles, they trade them in on something else. The enthusiasts picked up these cheap cars and start going and having fun with them.
This month, we've got our 2 best deals ever back from Glossit. We've got their DIY ceramic coating kit, which is a $210 value, including their graphene ceramic coating, plus a bottle of their ceramic detail spray, which makes the application so easy an idiot like me can do it in my own garage. That's a $210 value for just $69.99. Or, if free is the better price, you can get a bottle of their award-winning detail spray for free. Just pay the shipping and handling. We've had to limit that, so I don't know how many are left, but check the links in the description below and find out which you can get. Either way, you're going to get some great Glossit goodness.